Rivers do not drink their own water. Trees do not eat their own fruit. The sun does not shine on itself, and flowers do not spread their fragrance for themselves. Living for others is a rule of nature. We are all born to help each other. No matter how difficult it is, life is good when you are happy, but much better when others are happy because of you.
Across the continents of the world, thank you very much. Thank you very much for watching Punchline Africa Television. I am somewhere in the to do what I'm supposed to do, but I just first of all want to introduce this subject on the Democratic Republic of Congo, the conflict in Africa. Conflicts in Africa have consumed a lot of our resources. They have taken all the resources that we always look for. Africa would be a better country without conflict. I just want to take this opportunity to thank President Dr. William Ruto for appointing the former President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta to continue with the East African peace mediation and African mediation of conflict, so that with the conflict of Ethiopia went down. Thank you very much, both of you. And thank you very much to the leaders of Africa, those who have accepted. But the point is, and my point remains very cardinal, very important, that as long as the key stakeholders are not sincere, as long as the stakeholders are not sincere, and they keep on telling us lies, they come on the table, but they have different plans, our continent will not be stable. For this process to be a good, durable peace process, we must be sincere to each other. The actors must be sincere all the time. Thank you very much. I bring all this message. And I want to greet Wanda. Wanda, good morning in Nairobi, Kenya.
Good morning, Dr. Masanga.
Yes, how are you?
We are very fine here in Nairobi. We are enjoying the sunshine here in the city.
Yeah, thank you very much. The resumption of the DRC peace process by M23 rebels coming to meet President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, the former president of Kenya, is a good and welcome gesture towards the peace in the region. What's your comment?
Indeed, and when President Kenyatta took up the role of being the peace negotiator, the peace mediator in the region, I sat down comfortably knowing that he is a man that is likely to see to it that peace is finally realized. It is quite a welcome move, and when President Kagame started speaking out, we are all very happy about it. And when now the M23 yesterday went to meet President Kenyatta to tow down, to move out from Kivu and the eastern part of the DRC Congo, it's indeed a statement that Africans are now ready to sort out their messes or their mess. Then they stand on ground and move forward, building the region and building the continent.
Thank you. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, viewers across in America, in Europe, in Africa, those watching us. We want today to take you back to our predictions, what we said about the conflict in the DRC Congo. And we had this show that we are going to play right now for the next 2 hours You can enjoy us, enjoy our show, make your comments, see what we said before, and it is coming true. Thank you very much, viewers, and thank you very much, Elvis Wanda, historian man, which we look forward to seeing you tonight on
Thank
the
you so
Twitter
much.
space of Kennedy Wandera. It will be hot. We South Africans have lost it out. Everybody now knows they are actually playing xenophobia, and we are not going to keep quiet about an African country that always takes us back, pulls us back. Africa must pull together, and I thank the people of Kenya for sacrificing all the efforts to make sure that there is a better Africa, and that Africa is through us. Thank you very much. God bless you. Watch the show and enjoy the show. Make more comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
And bye-bye to you back in the studios. Thank you in Nairobi. God bless you.
God bless you.
All right. So we are looking at how do we harness security, peace, and conflict in the DR, and in general, and Africa in general, owing to the recent developments and what we saw yesterday. Let me just get that right so that we don't confuse our viewers further. All right. So our topic this morning is how do we harness peace, security, and conflict in DRC and Africa in general. So that is, yes, I was right. That is what we are going to look at this morning. And as we start from DR, Doc, before I get back to you, there were violent clashes in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo on Tuesday between Congolese soldiers and the M23 rebel movement. Local sources said as the rebels said they were ready to disengage. Congolese troops engaged the rebel groups outside Buiza, some 40 kilometers north of provincial capital in Goma, according to the sources, as the violent Saint-Lô being behind the massacre, blaming stray bullets for the deaths of just 8 civilians. On Tuesday, the group issued a statement saying it was ready to countenance a withdrawal from territory it had seized, a key demand made by Luanda at peace talks last month with neighboring Rwanda, which saw a truce agreement unlocked. So the M23 are saying they're ready now to put down their firearms, and 53 armed groups from the Democratic Republic of Congo that met in Kenya for the third East African community-led Nairobi peace process have agreed to lay down their arms as Kinshasa finds ways to address their grievances, amongst them the removal of foreign armed groups from the country. So we shall continue getting into the details of that as we proceed with the conversation this morning. So Doc, back to you. You can start us off.
Thank you very much, Miriam. That is a grim picture coming from the Democratic Republic of Congo. But just on a better, in a better mood and in a better side and a best foresight, in Kenya, Nairobi, where you are, yesterday, the former president and the president of Kenya, Dr. William Ruto, together with the East African community heads of state, have managed to secure a peace, a permanent ceasefire amongst the 52 rebel groups that are based in Congo. This news came by the East African Force, Stabilizing Force, which is in Ngoma. These are two things that have made me this morning, and I've written a document which should actually be sent to the office for publication, and that is it. That would bring about the best approach of our peace process in Congo. But will this peace process hold, Miriam, given that we have 132 peace rebel groups, 52 of them? Now, where are the 70 or 60 80 of them. We have to look for more 80 of them to bring an overall peace process to a conclusion. But the first step that former President Uhuru Kenyatta took under difficult conditions, under tough conditions, the plight of refugees, the plight of being in the hall for almost 20 hours without food. Because once you leave a peace process and a peace process of a hall and you go, the peace could collapse. Negotiations into the night, trying to make sure that we find a solution for the people of Congo. That process is recommendable. That process is his former boss, former boss Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, to continue with the peace process. Because if we change the hands into another envoy who does not understand the conflict, we would still be again lagging behind. But his continuation, his support from the government of Republic of Kenya is what I would like to commend. And I thank you people, Miriam in Nairobi, pass my greetings, pass our greetings to the people of Kenya for having supported a peace process in the Democratic Republic of Congo. After all, that is what we need in Africa, not a football cries, not celebrations of a team which sponsors conflicts on the African continent. That is my stand. And any questions that can come from there are welcome. But what is it that we want to achieve here? How do we marry peace, security, and the conflict itself? That is the bottom thread, the inner thread of our discussion today. How are we going to make sure that there is no recurrence of this peace process, of these conflicts, that there is permanent peace, there is security among the areas where the M23 has surrendered, and among the people where the M23 claim that they are being discriminated and killed, and their people are being killed, which has sparked a conflict. That is what I'm trying to do. That's what we want to discuss tonight, this morning. Thank you very much. Miriam, let's kick it with some basic units and information background, if you have any, that side.
All right. So, this is something that we have been following very, very closely. And I think the main demands from the Angolan peace talks that were being led by President Lourenço of Angola was for the M23, first of all, to withdraw from the areas that it had captured illegally. And, that is one of the demands also by the government of the Democratic Republic of Congo. We cannot engage you if you have not surrendered and you have not withdrawn from those areas that you had captured. Three main, towns in that area. And M23, I think for right now, they have they're not fully out of those areas, but they are withdrawing from the reports that we've been receiving. And they've agreed, and they're saying they're ready for a direct dialogue. They're saying they don't want to talk with the mediators. They want to have a conversation with the government of the Democratic Republic of Congo, led by President Felix Tshisekedi. And President Felix Tshisekedi and the government of the DRC has been saying it's not ready to engage the M23 rebels until it meets certain conditions. And so with them showing some readiness and willingness, Doc, on their part now, would it be perhaps important for the government, of the Democratic Republic of Congo to just bend over backwards and see if they can at least meet them halfway? I know their stance has been very clear, and they felt very strongly that they can't meet and have conversation with this rebel group. In fact, they are not even in the mediation table. But could perhaps President Tshisekedi at this moment just maybe rethink and see if he can, the government can have a conversation with them?
Let me hear from Mpambe Makanga. What do you think, Makanga?
sababu sasa East
No,
Africa
the network is yes.
yes. Lakini nitasema kwa Kiswahili kwa sababu the whole of East Africa sasa hivi inasikiliza, na bila shaka hivi ni vita ama ile changamoto ambayo DRC inapitia inahitaji dhabiti kwa viongozi wote wale ambao wanapigana, viongozi wa pande zote na kote hata East Africa. Viongozi ambao wanakuja kusaidia taifa la DRC ni viongozi ambao wana imani kwamba vita hivi vitaisha. Tunakumbuka kwamba ule mkutano ambao ulifanyika kule Angola, baadaye sasa ukaja hasa Nairobi hapa Kenya. Bila shaka ni mpangilio ambao ulikuwa sawa kabisa, mpangilio wa kuleta pamoja hawa viongozi na vile vile M23 pia wakiwa pale, wale waasi ambao walikuwa wanapigana katika taifa hilo la DRC. Ni hatua nzuri kwamba M23 sasa wanakubali kwamba uongozi ama mwongozo huu ambao umetolewa wa kuweza kumaliza vita hivi uweze kufuatiliwa alafu kwa karibu sana ili vita viweze kukamilika. Kama kawaida vita vinavyotokea ama kama kuna changamoto yoyote, watu ambao wanahusika katika swala la changamoto hili wanapokuja pamoja bila kuvutana, hapo ndipo tunapata amani. Nachukua nafasi hii vile vile kushukuru Rais mstaafu Uhuru Kenyatta bila shaka, ambaye amekuwa anaongoza majadiliano haya kwa njia iliyo sawa kabisa, na ameonyesha kwamba ni kiongozi dhabiti ambaye ana matumaini ya kuweza kuhakikisha kwamba East Africa ama Afrika Mashariki ina mshikamano. Vile vile Rais William Ruto vile ulivyosema pale kwamba tunapopata East Africa ama Afrika Mashariki ambayo imeshikamana, tutakuwa rahisi vile vile kupata soko lililo sawa, usafiri utakuwa sawa katika mataifa haya bila kuogopa nchi yoyote ati kwamba kuna mtafaruku huko ama mtafaruku huko. Na hapo ndio maendeleo yatokea, na hakuna mtu ambaye atatoka nje kutucheka sisi, kwa sababu mataifa ya nje wakati mwingine akiona Afrika ina vita hivyo ama ina msukumano huku na huku, hapo ndio wakati mwingine wanafurahi kabisa, kwa sababu sijui ni nini ambacho muhimu wanapata kutoka pale. Lakini hiyo lazima liweze kuzingatiwa sana kwa viongozi kuweze kushikamana na kufuatilia ule mtindo ambao umewekwa kumaliza vita hivi, na tena isikue kwamba kuna mwingine ambaye labda kwa njia moja ama ile nyingine amejificha chini kwamba hapa juu tunakaa kwenye meza tunazungumza, alafu baadaye anakuja tena kupinduka kwamba tena anataka hivi na hivi. Wacha mambo haya yaweze kuzungumziwa kwa meza, yaweze kumalizwa hivi, alafu tusonge mbele. Nashukuru sana.
Yes, finish your word.
Yeah, ndio sasa. Kwa hatua hiyo ni muhimu sana, ndio sasa najaribu kusema namna gani kwamba viongozi waweze kushikamana na hatua ambayo wameshaichukua. Usikue tena kwamba wanarudi nyuma. Tunamaliza mtafaruku kama makabiliano ya kivita katika taifa moja, tunaenda kwa lingine, kwa sababu kuna mataifa mengi hapa Afrika ambaye yamepata changamoto za kivita. Tuna taifa kama Sudan tumepata ambalo bila shaka kama ile nyingine viongozi wameweza kusaidia kutoa vita kukabiliana vile vita vya pale. Hivyo basi tunaposonga katika mataifa mengine tunataka kumaliza mitafaruku ya kwa ndani, ndio wanasema intra conflict hizi ambazo zinafanyika katika mataifa haya ya East Africa na Africa. Kuna mbaya atatoka nje ya Afrika kwanza vita kujua mtafaruku tena na itakuwa moja.
Haya, the network is not good. It's okay. Asante sana ndugu yangu kwa Kiswahili kwa Radio Punchline Africa viewers across the world, the continent. When you want to listen to music, the Rumba African music, the music from Oliver Mtukudzi, from South Africa, from Nigeria, from Cameroon, from Somalia, from all the states of Africa, TuneIn, Radio, Punchline Africa, www.punchlineafricatv.com. Then you go to the word radio, live radio. You will hear every music and the voice of this gentleman, Pambe Mukanga. They are there, plenty of them. They are doing their thing online. Don't go to the gym and put on music by the rivers of Babylon. No. Put Lingala on in the music with your, or when you are doing running, use that radio, put on the phone, put your earphones. Miriam, who runs in her estate, will always do that. And please, I ask her to, she doesn't like some of this Lingala, but she at times listens to them. But she's not like me, who likes Lingala 100%. And therefore, I use it every morning, that radio, when I'm doing my exercises in the house and around the house. Thank you very much. God bless you. And that is why I've kept fit like this, that I'm able to listen to African music. Let's have another day tomorrow. Punchline Africa Television continues with its show, the security frontline. We want to find out, how do we harness the prospects of peace, security in a conflict zone? Put them together. How they work? That's what we want to talk. Thank you very much. As we speak, as Mr. Pambe Makanga goes off, we are left with my sister Miriam, and we have to smash it out up to the end. And let's see. Miriam, there are sorts of conflicts on the continent of Africa. One of them is inter-party, inter-country state conflict. That is usually a proxy war where we talk about boundaries. The African Union Constitutive Assembly Arrangement talked about boundaries of 1884, never to be discussed. We saw the intra-party, interstate conflict like the one of Somalia on the oil fields, seeking to change the border between Kenya and Somalia and the rest of Africa. That is a proxy war that was coming, which we saw coming. We also have what we call expansionist wars, conflicts of expansionism, where people have expanded and they want to expand territory, capture, influence, ethnicity. People would like to discuss that we are marginalized. We have no say in this place. The question of territories that sleep on both sides of the border. You have one brother was born in this side, another brother is born on this side. For example, the question of the island, which we don't want to speak about, that our mouth is very watery when we begin to talk about Mugingo Island. The water could be Kenya's, and then the island could be somebody's. So those are the conflicts that we call interstate, and the expansionist, they come as interstate boundary disagreements, then it runs into expansionism. Is somebody looking to expand a territory? You have seen sentiments that are coming out of certain people's mouths. Could this be a precursor to bigger things that are coming? But in Congo, this is happening. There are people who think, as we speak now, scholars of international repute, most of them in Europe are saying the only solution that you can have a better Congo is to find a better solution by uniting the people. And the only way to unite the people of Congo is to give them some sort of autonomy, autonomous, semi-autonomous status, such that they belong to the state, but they have that feeling of nurturing themselves. And that feeling should be they govern themselves on private matters, on minerals, for example. Let the areas in Eastern Congo produce the minerals for the state, and let the state facilitate these minerals to be sold, and then the citizens of that country can become, they can gain profitable for the citizens of that country. But surely, Miriam, you just come and land with your airplane. You live in a 5-star hotel in Ngoma. After that, you order people to go to the jungle. Those who come back are heroes. Those who have died looking for the 1 kilo or 2 kilos of diamonds that you are looking for, you don't care about them. And you're a smart businessman. You have reached Ngoma, taken off your shirt, worn a good shirt, and then start drinking the liquor, the Congolese beer, women, waiting for people to die. You know, you are in a hotel, but you don't know who is dying there. You see how the conflict is? But for you, you're a businessman, you wait for a telephone call. The man says, oh, I have arrived and booked in this hotel. Can you come? Then you wake up, walk into the bank, draw the dollars, pay these people. You don't know what this is doing to this nation. In the afternoon, your flight is ready. You are on the way out of Congo. Miriam, look at the trail that such a businessman has left behind. How many people have died we can't account for, my sister? How many? Very many. For 1 kilo of diamond, 10 people might have been killed who are Congolese. So why don't we legalize the trading of diamonds, of gold, through the government itself coming out with how do we harness the peaceful environment that is beginning to grow in the Congo? How do the natives, the problem of Congo, of DRC Congo, is the natives don't gain. They are not, that's why a conflict has risen. That's why someone has come and filled the vacuum by telling them, you see, the government in Kinshasa has neglected you. You are on your own. There's no authority here. People come and beat you up because you are taller than the Congolese. You are assumed to be a Rwandese. You are beaten up. But this, why can't we change the narrative? Bring infrastructure to the people. Let the people mine these minerals. Put themselves in a car on the road, go and sell them and buy food and educate their children. That will be the day that Congo would have harnessed peace and created security for the people, and then destroyed the conflict. Other than that, Miriam, the conflict seemed to be just suspended. But if things are not very good on the ground, Kenyatta has done his best. And as an African, Pan-African friend, I give him the credit that he deserves. Well done, Mr. President, Mr. Former President, and well done, the President of Kenya, for having facilitated, at times jumped in to help to open this process, to encourage people that there is need to talk. As other areas blow up into wars, let's cool our wars in Africa, and Africa will return and rise again. Miriam.
Yes, indeed. The interstate war and the interstate war as well that is ongoing outside of this interference that we see. Some countries that are being accused of funding that conflict in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Indeed, there are deep-seated issues that also and factors that have acted to fuel this war that must be addressed. And I think yesterday President Uhuru Kenyatta was talking to the groups that he has been meeting for the last couple of days there in Nairobi. Something he said that I found to be very interesting, and that has to do with ethnicity. I think that is something that has to be addressed in the Democratic Republic of Congo. It is one of the key factors that is actually fueling this conflict. And I'll quote what President Kenyatta said yesterday. Some of them were not guilty of anything and were targeted because of suspicion and ethnic communities they hail from. The president, Felix Tshisekedi, has said they will form the committee, and I told him also I want to be part of it, also those with no criminal record to be released at once. So there are, from what President Uhuru Kenyatta was saying yesterday, there are people who are suffering, perhaps they're in jail and perhaps have been killed, not because they've done anything to warrant that, but because of their ethnic background, and because of that, how they are perceived to be, and perhaps who they are perceived to be aligned to. So ethnicity is a big problem that cannot be ignored, and once maybe the area has been fully pacified, and there are reports that the rebel groups have moved and peace will quietly return to that area, because right now we really can't say. M23 says they're ready to engage and they've put down their weapons, but we saw they violated the ceasefire agreement that was made on the 25th. So we don't know how long they will hold this, or if at all they're actually planning to keep their word. But outside of these other matters, the people of Democratic of Congo as a people, they must come together and address the issue of ethnicity that is deeply rooted and will continue to haunt them and haunt their peace, and they will not realize there are things you cannot sweep under the carpet and just hope that it will work themselves out. This is something that has come out strongly, and this is something that must be addressed. And Doc, as you were talking and just highlighting the amount of wealth Congo has, and we know they do. And I think yesterday I was just reading a story here. There is a company from Switzerland that I think has been fined, and it paid the DR Congo's government a lot of money in tens of millions of dollars because it was found guilty of illegally doing business and acquiring some of the minerals there through corrupt ways and bribing officials there. And it paid some good amount of money. So we see that. And then the people who come from these rich areas that are rich with mineral resources, they don't get to benefit from this. So perhaps they should look at how they manage their natural resources. And indeed, that is a problem. That is a problem. And we've seen also that become a problem in Cabo Delgado in northern Mozambique. The young people from that area, where these multinational companies have set up shop, and they're making a lot of business and a lot of wealth from there. The people, the communities, the indigenous communities were moved out of that area. They were never offered better alternatives. They were never consulted. They don't benefit from what is coming out of there. The profits are going to a few on top. And so that creates that level of disenfranchisement, and also the inequality that I think is this is the theme. When a people feels marginalized, when a people feels they are not getting what they should be getting, and they feel some level of inequality, we have seen time and time again in this conflict, especially across Africa, that becomes a recipe for chaos, that becomes a recipe and a fertile ground where some people with ulterior motive will find these young people vulnerable and susceptible, and they take advantage of their disenfranchisement, and they're able to use them for other things, to continue destabilizing the country and to run their own agenda. And at the end of the day, they get misused. So we have to look at these matters. But management of Congo's natural resources, the government needs to come with a plan. They need to relook at this, This, of course, this conflict, the external factors are also quite eminent that are attached even to the natural resources. But we need to get selfless leaders in Congo, in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and perhaps when, who have the interests of the country at heart, because, the leadership that they had for a long time, Mobutu Sese Seko, who was a gatekeeper, for the West, and, they were used to coming in and getting the country's wealth and moving out, and even the subsequent leadership that has been there. So the people are tired. The people are tired, and it's unfortunate that they're being used as pawns, and they're suffering. At the end of the day, like you've described, somebody somewhere is just seated at a hotel waiting, for this mineral to get to them, but they don't care the price that has to be paid. These are things that must be looked at, and these are things, even as the mediation process continues, I love the heart of President Uhuru Kenyatta, our former president, and how he has really taken this matter personally, and he's coming from a very human perspective. He's saying, what is it? You are all brothers. How can we help you? And he said he will personally go there, I think, in January or February, to see how some of the implementation and some of the agreements that they signed yesterday in Nairobi, how, if at all, they're being, upheld. And so he said, you all have to talk within yourselves. The men, when you go back home, please talk to your young men so that they stop the rapes and this other atrocity they're committing to their own sisters, to their own aunties, to their own, it is, you're one people. What is going on? So, but they're being used to fight each other like that. Unfortunately, they don't know. So it's quite sad. So I think I'll join you in thanking our former President Uhuru Kenyatta for it is still not easy, and there's still so much to be done in this mediation, but I think he is the man for this job, and so far he's done great, and we just hope that all the stakeholders are able to cooperate so that this process can move, and we stop just having meetings for the sake of having meetings, and we can start actually feeling and having the results, and people can go back to their homes finally. And Doc, just before I get back to you, yesterday there's a new story I had here, and South Sudan is also planning to send its troops to the Democratic Republic of Congo, and I think the government has put aside $6.69 million to support its troops, about 750 South Sudanese soldiers, to go and try to protect the lives of the people of the Democratic Republic of Congo. While I do understand they have that they are part of the East African community, and they are supposed to be supporting, because that was an agreement within the community. But how are they going to protect the lives of the people of the Democratic Republic of Congo, and to ensure, from what the commander was saying, that these people are able to go back to their homes safely, and they cannot do that back at home? That conflicted me a little bit.
Now, first of all, did they pay the money for East African community?
They have not, and they're lagging behind it. That's another story for another day.
Who lent them the money?
The $6.69 million. Can you imagine what that could do to the people of South Sudan? I don't know.
And they lent the money to who? They got the money from East African community.
They got the money from their own central bank, I guess. So they're willing to spend.
Let me tell you, commitments of that nature, surely you should look at the people, the citizens of South Sudan first. We know South Sudan also wants to have, no country does not want to have a national, international, and image and a pride by contributing in such ventures like the peacekeeping ceremonies, stabilization force. But surely, if you are not eating, then you want to go and give food to others.
No, if you're not stable, you're not even stable. What are you going to stabilize elsewhere?
And already there is something happening in South Sudan, which I've seen here, and I have not seen the photographs of our talking today, but I hope they will come. But we are two of us, we need that photo. Now, something which is very strange here is Riek Machar and Pagan Alum have been removed from SPLA.
I'm glad you brought that story, Doc. I think that happened a couple of weeks ago, and that has caused some problem. And Riek Machar went and formed SPLM-IO in opposition. So why would he still want to be in SPLM?
But we came back and they made a peace agreement, so they should have forgiven each other. And there you are. You are answering the question that I've been
You can't be there and be here. If you left SPLM, you left SPLM.
But where is the question of accountability? If that is the case, can we go back to accountability? I have been always a serious advocate of accountability that leads to a period called RS. RS is a situation where there is a redemption strategy. If you have done DDR, this mobilization, disarmament, and the reintegration, you need straight, you move straight to DDR. No, you move straight to redemption strategy. Now, before you do DDR, you must do accountability, which is agenda number 5. The problem of South Sudan, and which we should not replicate in Congo, is now the rebels have agreed. But there are people there with grievances. And I hope President Kenyatta will listen. Because usually he listens. He's a very good listener on some of, if he's not busy, some of our shows. Your Excellency, you have to quickly, the 52 teams must lay down the rules of implementation, accountability, if we are to save this nation again. Because the moment you jump accountability, you find a roadblock ahead. Now, Mr. Riek Machar has found a roadblock and a Pagan Arum because they didn't do accountability. Which side were you in the war? So it is going back to unravel, Miriam, the agreement that, okay, if you say I was in SPLO and you agreed, now you came back together. We didn't dismember SPLM. I was one of the few people who opposed this name called SPLM. South Sudan People's Liberation Army. You have got independence, still you have a liberation army.
What about, okay, are we going to have that conversation fully, Doc? NRM is still there 37 years later.
Exactly. I want us to go to Uganda.
It's still liberating the people.
Say, national liberation movement, a national resistance movement.
Still resisting.
Are you still resisting?
Well, they're resisting democracy, I guess. I don't know.
So, it needs, one of the things that I am proud about, Miriam, when I talk about... That
is the psychology of the leadership. That's how they think.
Exactly. And then the psychology of the leadership leads you to chaos. Have you seen the chaos that is coming? If you now eliminate Riek Machar, and you have now chosen today, just a few minutes ago, breaking news, they have moved to endorse Mr. Saluk, the ailing leader, because when he comes to public meetings, it doesn't work well. He's my friend, and age also has caught up with us. These were our commanders in Nairobi in 1985, 86, 82, Owini Kibul. They have suffered. They have gone through quite a lot in Owini Kibul, in southern Sudan, in camps in Ethiopia. I sympathize with Commander Salva Kiir. The age is also catching up. We are not the same people. As you grow, you add on, you celebrate. That's why now, for me, I've stopped even celebrating birthdays. Because each birthday you celebrate now, reminds you of the bad journey ahead of Damascus. And Miriam worries alone. You are saying you are approaching 70. What? Do you know that depression can come in and finish you? So you look back and say, now Miriam says, I'm only 33, 34, 35. You can't even eat food with her on the table. You rather run away. When she tells you, I'm 34 and I still have a bright future. Unaona, that can kill you as now. That's why David, this man of here you see, does not celebrate. Does not celebrate birthdays. Because each birthday you celebrate, just send me quietly money, I will buy airtime. Increase 1,000, which I think I owe you. Miriam owes me my present, my birthday present, which just passed in October, 2 months ago. I was still waiting for that present, but it never came. Buy me a shirt and quietly buy me a trouser. I'm not saying you, but those who have not done it. But for me, the army, Salva Kiir is now something like a 76. You see? Or 70 something. It is age is catching up. Groom a younger generation. Groom somebody you trust. And I say, please, when I step aside, Miriam will take over and run this party. But here we are. And that's why divisions now, all the divisions that are occurring right now, Madam Miriam Ogutu, they are going to wreck the peace that we have been saying. That is why I brought this topic. How do you harness the presence of peace, security, and in a conflict still raging? We have talked about intra-wars, that still rebel groups, 52 of them. 52 have come out, they have agreed. The other 80-something, we don't know what they think. They also, this 52 will go and talk to the 80. Okay, fine. But if you don't move fast, whoever funded this war, whoever collects the diamonds, who sits in a hotel in Ngoma, could come and say, you know, don't worry. Now, for every 1 kilo you bring, I'll give you a quarter of that money in cash, in dollars. People will go back to create a conflict, to kill one in order to grab the gold or the diamond to go and sell it to the seller. So that one becomes a proxy war sent, which can, there are people who claim they don't have a state where to go. Like M23 has said, we are Congolese, but we are not recognized in the state of Congo. That's why we want direct talks with the president. So, but one question to M23, how will you talk to the president when you left, when you don't talk to him? You need a mediator. Then there is a last very dangerous war, which we must be very careful about. And that dangerous war is called a transitional conflict. A transitional conflict is taking place. A transitional conflict is taking place in a very difficult situation. And Miriam, you can talk about transitional conflict. Do you know it?
Yeah, I have a name for it. I'm just forgetting.
There's a transitional conflict. Is we're moving from one center with it
It's a conflict that is dynamic, and a
Yes.
conflict, yes, that you really don't know the end of it. So even as you try to employ diplomacy and see how to solve it, it keeps morphing and it takes different,
Yes.
nature.
You
Today
go on.
demands this, the next day perhaps something changes. So it's a very dicey, kind of a conflict, especially for mediators who, like we've been saying, President Uhuru Kenyatta and the others, like in the case of the conflict in the Democratic Republic of Congo. It's quite different from what we were seeing happening in Ethiopia, which seems to have solved the problem. Of course, now we're learning a lot of other things that had been happening in that region of Tigray during the blockade. But that kind of conflict is different because the nature of it and the demands, I think, were different. But in the case of Congo, this transitional conflict, it's a conflict that has been there for over 20 years now. And because that's how long the MONUSCO, the United Nations mission in the Democratic Republic of Congo, has been there since the offstart of this conflict in 1999, I think just around that period. And it has been morphing, and we've been learning new details, we've been learning new courses, we've been learning new demands, from the actors themselves, and other things keeps, coming in. So it has become very difficult to solve this problem. But there are a couple of things that have remained constant about the actors themselves and about what is it, that is the core. Unfortunately, while other solutions are being tried to be gotten in this conflict, nobody seems to want to go to the core of what really is the matter as far as this conflict is concerned. And that is because sometimes they keep changing the goalpost. But there are factors that are constant. So my wish is perhaps the mediators will go and find the constant, that has always been the problem, and try to just find a solution for that. But Doc, as I was explaining, in transitional conflict, the one we see in the DRC, it becomes very difficult because of the goalpost, keep changing. It keeps changing. Today it's one thing, the next day is something else. And you wonder, so what is going on, and how can we arrest this main thing and sit it down and address it properly as it should? But that is the nature of a transitional conflict. Today you're looking at something totally different that might come up again tomorrow. So it becomes a real challenge as far as diplomacy and mediation is concerned. Okay. So, as we wait for those.
No, I am here.
Okay.
The question of Miriam, you have explained very well. In transitional conflict, who suffers most? Who suffers most?
Of course,
There must be
the innocent civilians. Yes.
Civilians suffer most in transitional conflict.
And in all conflicts, yes.
No, what the annexation, you come and take over and keep quiet. And say, I want you to be kneeling before me every morning. Talk about kneeling. You saw the nurses, men kneeling before President Museveni in Kampala.
The things that happen in that wonderful country, Doc, I can't even start talking about it. It gives me.
I will bring the question on Friday. Don't spoil the proof.
The great country, our wonderful neighbors. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, there are so many things that happened there. Last night I was on a Twitter space, Miriam, before I answered this question. There is a younger man who always comes on this Twitter and tries to speak rubbish about Museveni. Every day, every Twitter space you go, he's there. And he's talking about Museveni, alleging so many things about President Museveni on Twitter space and about Uganda. Then I told this younger man, please, for goodness sake, Some of us who have been in a struggle for a long time, you are only 27 years old. Not even half of the age of what I've been in exile. I've known President Museveni as being very vicious when it comes to people who write about him. He would rather face you with the gun, and if you say you have picked guns and you are going to the bush somewhere in Bugisu, Museveni will come for you. In fact, he will spend all that time on, he enjoys that. But the person he fears most are those who sit down, like Orlando Tunu in the new UN, Matanga and others, and write. There he will come for you, badly. Both of them, both the two leaders have that aspect. And I was warning this younger man, every time you come to the platform, even a subject that does not concern President Museveni of our country, you bring the name of President Museveni. His Excellency President Museveni has got his own faults. But there are good things that he has also done. One of the good things is in my house, in my household, where I left my mom, there is a tapped water. Miriam, there is tapped water, tapped clean water. That is something I never left here. There is power, electricity. Switch on, kapa, switch off. Hala. So these are some of the accolades we should give when you are doing analysis, balancing of your essay. Balance your essay with the good things, and then come and say, although these things have been going on, there's also been the kneeling down before the president, which I, as a Kenyan, I hate. But we, as Ugandans, we are supposed to kneel before the king. A man like me with this big body, I go down and I say, thank you very much, sir. I'll tell you the story of the king, which I've told you before. In 1963, King Edward the late Mutesa came to our primary school. I was in primary 3, 1963, yes. Because there was this, you know, the thing that you people in Kenya have brought back. Junior, you have to finish junior secondary school, then now prepare for that stage of J.A. Bright, which now Miriam jumped to Ogundipe, 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 Ogundipe. Yeah. Now 1963, I was in primary 3. A grown-up. They told us the king of Buganda, of Uganda, who was the president of Republic of Uganda, ceremonial before Milton Obote, and the crisis took place. The king came 63, 64, yes, around there. I will check the date. Somebody home there used to write my history. And tomorrow, remind me to show you my pictures when the day I was born. And Miriam, whenever I tell you I came out when I was 100 kilos, you always laugh. But tomorrow, be prepared and open those eyes for you to see the real boy. Held in the hands. This is me. Now look at look at me, Miriam. The king was, we were told, Mom, my mom prepared us. I'm trying to give you this analysis of why we men in Uganda kneel. My mom prepared us. Tomorrow we leave here at 5 a.m. to get a vantage position where you can see the Queen. Since I am in the Mothers Union, your school will look after you while I'm singing in the Mothers Union. You know, King Edward Mutesa was an Anglican. So we Protestants liked him like we liked Obote. But we did not like the people who go to another church called the Catholic Church, which is Rubaga. That's where the Uganda conflict has always been. The religious conflict, which could actually, it brought all these problems that we have today. So here we are. I roasted my cassava. Well roasted. Mom tied it nicely. By then, Indians, the grandfather of Prit Patel had a shop in Budoda which was selling very good things, smelly. You can go there and, hey, yeah. Mom bought some pepper and some mandazi and wrapped it plus that. And I went with my mandazi and my cassava. So we reached the county headquarters. They said the first vantage point for all students from this primary school will gather at the corner. When I speak about the corner, there is somebody there called it who should explain it to you. That one there. He'll explain to you because he knows all the direction, corner. So we went to that corner and I took a vantage position. You know, nilianza kukua mtu kali sana those days. I became the leader of these other pupils. Tusimame hapa kwa miti, tutaona huyu mtu on a tree that had been cut. No, my mother said, no, you will fall because I know you like sleeping. Miriam, from 5 a.m., the king of Buganda came at 3 p.m., the motorcade. Miriam, my dear sister, what brought me tears up to today? They told us when you see the king, when the motorcade is coming and he's on top, you don't look at him in the face. So for me, Dr. Matanga, they said the king is coming, so we went down. Now, Miriam, look at my position. I went completely and slept. The king passed waving to everybody. I was sleeping. Everybody started going. I was left there with another boy also sleeping. He's now one of he works in Uganda Revenue Authority. He's about to retire. He's from my place there. We slept. So my mom, the king has arrived addressing people. My mom says, asked the teacher, where did you leave David? David is where? He's not among these people. My mom now bursts into tears. Maybe something has happened to this boy. That time there was no murder. There was no kidnap. The life was so good, I tell you. Muzungu Inspector General comes to inspect your house. Are you going to school or not? Hiyo wazungu, unaona? Pana hili siku hizi, I am a probation officer, anakaa kukula pesa kwa ministry. So mama cried. They said, no, your son is down there, sleeping. He's on a tree where you put him. So mom comes, instead of saying, what happened? Alinipiga. And they said, you are very stupid. Why didn't you follow your friends? You see the trouble you have caused me. I've left the choir. I said, I looked at him, I said, my, what? This king is the one making you beat me when I'm one of your boys. I'm the firstborn of the whole family. And you are beating me like this, Mama. Said, okay. Then my mama just took the handkerchief because she didn't want to see the people seeing me crying. Wiped and said, let's go. I'll sort it at home with you. We go. Miriam, from 1964 to date, you tell me about the kingdom of Uganda. I ran away. And a little known to me, I go to London in 1987. I swear, the first part job of selling windows. You know, windows had just come. This is double glazed. A company in South Surrey, Croydon there, advertised for us to meet in a hotel called Crystal Palace Hotel, where the stadium is. I also say, I have to sell windows. Na English yangu hii kidogo. Kufika kwa inside the hall, the king of Uganda, the current one, was there. Are you with me? I'm Bishop Masinde. Are you with me? He was also selling windows. Apparently, our age is the same. Only that he was born about 1 month earlier. I was born a month later. So we became drink mates. Drink. Kukunywa kapombe. There was another gentleman called Kakoza. Kakoza united us, and I used to pick the king, pick me, because I'm radical. I was now pointing my arsenal to the Mr. you talk, whose name I don't want to mention. And they said, we have to get this guy out. You know, not knowing that the king was going to go and leave me in where? Exile. After 1990, 1991, things started changing. The kingdom recovered some of their houses, the properties. President Museveni gave them properties. The king went. Up to date, we communicate. When we meet, he doesn't ask who I am. But there's one thing I told him, I nailed in 1964. Then I have found you here, I will not kneel. He said, no, here is liberal, don't kneel. But whenever my friends, the Baganda come to meet us at the drinking place, hey. So me, I said, Then he said, are you not going to do the same? I said, no, I'm a Mugisu. You colonized us, but we don't kneel for you. We are sorry. I'm sorry. Thank you very much for telling this story. It's part of knowing your culture, media. It's part of cultural interactions, that you don't become a Riaka Machar, that you don't become a Makenga, that you don't become a Sultan Makenga to oppose people, but learn behavior. So when you say our country, your country, the neighbor, we have very crazy people there. Some of them will threaten you up to the end of the moon, but they will do nothing. When you meet them, they are very good people. Yeah? When you meet them, they are very good people. When I did not want to shake hands with President Museveni at all when he came to Juba. But lastly, when I went to Kampala under the auspices of other presidents, they said, you people have to do peace talks. Now we have finished the one of NRA, we want you to do yours. We did peace talks. We shook hands. And from there, when I looked at his face, I told him, I'm shaking my hands, but I will never come back. He said, why? No, there's a house. They can buy you a house here. Buy a house for David. I said, no, I have a small house of my own, Mr. President. Thank you very much. We have brought the peace. He said, no, go and be the ambassador for peace. That's the truth. That's my destination. And I've never changed from being an ambassador for peace. I'm not paid by the government of Uganda to be an ambassador for peace. But I can't be on a platform where you talk about Museveni from morning up to evening. Even when the topic is talking about oil in Mexico. I ran away. This younger man, every platform he goes to, he talks about Museveni. Even when it is Russian war and the Ukraine, he says Museveni is also involved there. So I say, no.
Yeah, and Doc, I think it's not so much because we understand that the kneeling is part of the culture in Uganda, so I don't think anybody has a problem with that. I think the reasons behind the kneeling and perhaps the prayers the nurses were making, I think the reasons is what got a lot of people talking, and not the kneeling, because that is part of your the culture, and I think we respect that. It is the reasons behind why were they kneeling, and what was the reason why, and what was the message behind the kneeling. I think that is why so many people had a lot to say about that.
When you kneel, the king rewards you.
No, the message they were taking to the king, that is hapo ndio kulikuwa na
when you kneel, the king rewards you.
Their prayers to the king, like thou leadeth forever.
The king rewards you. When you kneel, the king will reward you. And the king will listen to your views. And perhaps reward you with a county, a sub-county, where you can now be the chief collecting obusuru tax on behalf of the king. So kneeling is a respectful angle for women. You must, and the children, you must respect your dad. My daughters, however big they are, I swear, you can't come greeting me while you are standing. Am I equal with you? At least do this. A small, medium, do this. A small one. Hi, Dad. But you were totally squeezing. Hi, Dad. How are you? Where? Yeah. That's where we have lost it. And the medium, you can't encourage your son to come and just run into your bedroom. You said, what are we doing? Why are you in the bedroom? Some of these people ask those questions.
Yeah, Doc, it is what the doctors and nurses, or the message that they were carrying to the king is what was is what was causing a lot of conversation. Yeah, they felt the king was still fit enough, and the king perhaps,
no. What are you trying to land? To land the
might live to be 120. So the king should continue leading the people. I think, yeah, that was that was the heart of the conversation. All right, I'll move on from that.
No. Why are you not being honest? Land the mic.
Yeah, was it the nurses and doctors who were
nurses wanted the nurses
the president?
The nurses wanted the increment of their salary.
So they're like, we want you to run again.
Their own strike, yes. Some of the nurses in Uganda are striking.
Yeah.
In fact, they have copied the nursing institution in London that when you are sick, don't try to go for Christmas in London. Stay where you are and a link with your doctor, wherever you are in Africa, because things are not very good there. No doctor, a doctor will take 10 hours. So by 10 hours, how long will you be alive?
But they were political.
They are not political, they are nurses. They are asking for increment in salary. And if you read the papers within the coming 2 days, 3 days, President Museveni would have increased the salary of all nurses.
Yes.
The respect. Yes, it gives incentive. It's part of the peace process of redemption strategy.
In Uganda.
There is no redemption strategy without eating.
All right, I see the bit.
Yes. You can't be, you have been eating goats alone. When we are redempting, you must share those goats with me.
By the time you're redempting, the goats will be done. There'll be no...
No, but you give me the one goat. Like the redemption strategy we did in northern Uganda. Miriam, wait. The NRA people who raped, they raped people. They went back to the families of those raped. They took their daughters, and their daughters are big. So you go with the cows to the family, and your family pays the cows, and the government was paying. Listen, there's something that Museveni has done very well. And let's be very honest. Let's not underrate him. He paid those who did not have the cows to reparate. 2 cows, 4 cows, you take to the other family. And when you reach there, you jump the egg. They put the eggs down here. You jump the egg twice. Don't step on the egg, because once you step on the egg, 2 days passed, your legs start not working. It's a redemption strategy, a reparation, healing. And most of the commanders, most of the people, those who agreed with the peace agreement that the government had put in place, a law was passed in the Parliament of Republic of Uganda, which is constitutional. It is in the Constitution of Republic of Uganda. Amnesty was given. The president was given powers to give amnesty to all rebels from 1982 up to date, up to a certain time of which you had to surrender yourself and renounce violence. And you get your certificate from the judge, the Chief Justice, or any judge of the High Court, not just ordinarily a priest. No, a judge of the High Court stamps your certificate, gives you your certificate. Miriam, are you hearing me? Are you with me? I'm Reverend Bishop Masinde. Are you with me? Are we together? Yeah, that's the word he uses all the time. So, you get your certificate, and that's it. That's the law of Uganda. There is nowhere they will come back again and abrogate that law. The law is very clear there. And His Excellency President honored it. So you can't be talking about the same man all the time. No. I told this guy on the platform, and now people are on his neck. He can't appear on the platform. You see somebody comes and spoils your platform. Miriam, like here, we allow people to spoil your platform. Facebook will close our platform. It takes the government to just say the Twitter handle of so and so is the one which is spreading hatred. You close it down. Not because there are no human rights abuses in Uganda, there are. But there are good things that Uganda government also has equally done. On the question of peace in Somalia, the man even goes further to demean the character of the Ugandan troops in Somalia. And I am a product of the same people who used to play guitar in praise for the man. And you are seated in the platform watching. I couldn't stomach it. So the peace process, all this we are talking because of how can we get peace, security, and the conflict harnessed. How can we harness the values of Uhuru Kenyatta's ventures in the Democratic Republic of Congo? I rest my land with my mic. Analyst Miriam invites me for lunch via the phone. I will be able to eat. And M-Pesa can bring the lunch my side.
I'm fasting today, so bad luck.
Yeah? The what?
I'm fasting, so bad luck. But we want to thank our viewers.
Why are you very sketchy these days? You are fasting?
We want to thank our viewers for watching.
Thank you very much, Miriam. If you are fasting, are you for honest, for sure? Okay, he's fasting. But if you are fasting, it doesn't mean Matanga is also fasting. I want to eat.
Moral support in the fast. That's what I need.
Okay, moral support. Let me give you moral support.
In the fast.
Bye.
All right.
Bye. Let me also go on the fast.
Okay. Thank you for watching. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you.